Here we have the 1996 BMW E36 M3. I'm Shouh, and why are we talking about this car? I'm an artist myself, and I figured this literally happened this one night. I was on my bed, and I don't know where my headspace was at, but I just thought, wow, wouldn't it be cool for me to take usually considered as a mismatch between things, which is a car and art. What would happen if we were to bring those two things together? You bring them together and something will come to fruition, something different, something unique. There's a series from BMW that's originated all the way from the 70s. It's called the Art Cars. And these are done by amazing, world famous artists, from Alexander Calder to Robert Rauschenberg to Andy Warhol. An artist has done his rendition of the art car on the E36 M3, and I was really inspired by that. This was probably a decade ago when I saw the art car. And I've always been an avid car enthusiast ever since I was a little kid. And so I thought this is the most perfect opportunity for me to do something with my talents and my interest and the thousands of hours of time that I spent in practicing art, developing myself as an artist. So when I found this car on the marketplace, it was this perfect opportunity. I thought it had the best pricing, and the car itself is in great condition. And this is the part where, for my artist friends, feel free to tune out a little bit, skip ahead, but check this out. Check out the interior. This is so cool. Look at the fabric that's from the 90s. How fun is that? These seats are called the Vader seats. And as soon as I saw this car in person, I was like, this is it. This is the perfect spec for me. Because if you were to look at this, it's a high mileage. It's not in the most pristine of shapes, and at the same time, I don't need it to be in the most pristine of shapes. I actually want it to be a little bit mechanically fine, mechanically sound, but in the car community, we call it the 10-footer, and that's completely fine because it allows me to then take this canvas and not feel as bad about it in terms of painting on the car. Now, of course, painting on a car, especially a car like this, E36 M3, it's a lot of pressure. I feel like it's a one-shot deal, when in reality, it's really not. I'm visualizing that envisioning that this is a project that's going to continuously evolve and transform Warhol's version of his art car, which is the legendary BMW M1. Literally my favorite, hands down, my favorite of the entire series of art cars. Legend has it that he finished the entire car painting in 22 minutes before the film crews were even able to get there. And it was like this performance piece where he was dancing, he was just vibing with the car. And I'm really inspired by that. I really want to see if I could do that. But at the same time, I know I have to do a little bit of prep work. So, like all creative arts, I think it's getting into the process, trying to figure out, how do I get over this artist block? As an art educator, this is a question that I get asked a lot, that all students with most creative projects, they will encounter something along the way where they're stuck. So when we're stuck, how do we get unstuck? And there's this great concept that's called the power hour. I didn't come up with this concept, and you'll hear me refer to this guy a lot, Sean Curry. He has this amazing podcast called My First Million. He's taught me a lot of concepts, entrepreneurship concepts, but I'm applying these concepts to the creative arts. So the power hour is this idea of within the hour, what can you do? What can you do within this hour to build the most momentum possible? And I link this idea to this idea of action, right? Action to reaction. And this is something that I use a lot I want to ask myself, what is, in a very small way, a tiny little step or a couple of little steps that is at least taking me towards, closer towards my goals, which is, my goal is to activate this car, not finishing the car, right? But at least activating, because I do see it as this continuous project where it's going to continue to change. I'm going to keep working on it. And so the power hour is this. I'm going to sit down and I will ideate and I will sketch. I believe that in order for me to do the best art, and I think this is a good tip for everyone, in order for me to do the best art, there's this German term called Gesamtkunstwerk. It's a total work of art. It does have a bit of a different application, but I interpret it as, in order for me to do the best art, I need to be fully immersed with this experience and understand my subject. I could sketch at home, but what interests me more is what happens if I were to draw the car, because I know this is always the case. Ideas gonna come from it. And by the way, when I sketch, I'm not just going to draw, I'm also going to journal and write down the thoughts. So let's go. So the first angle that I'm gonna do is of the car that is completely on this profile view. So in other words, is a side view, because it's the most neutral way to understand the car. The profile literally is, what I've been doing since I was a little kid. I would always draw the profile of the car. I think it just looks so good, right? The profile really defines the foreign language really, really well. So I'm going to start with doing that. In terms of my gear, my equipment, I'm going to literally just grab whatever you can, right? If you want to try something like this, is have a pen and a micron. And what's cool about this micron is that it is waterproof. So if I want to use this micron and then later on add some kind of, let's say watercolor, that's a great medium. And for my sketchbook, I have this little sketchbook that is super portable. I just carry with me like everywhere. And check this out. Where do I hold all of my supplies? It's always over here. If you guys are interested in how I build out my kit, I can definitely comment below. I can definitely build out a video on that in terms of how I aggregate all my materials. Make sure that it's portable, it's convenient, hassle-free. On the go, I grab it, I'm ready to shoot. I first started with the side view and then moved on to doing an upwards or downwards view of the car. And I want to get it at this really interesting angle, right? Like, and the other thing too is it's like getting to know someone. It's like getting to know your subject, that there are all these, odd things, peculiar things, interesting things, perhaps, elements, and you're seeking it out through your drawing. And it's this idea that if you're not drawing, for example, I don't know if you call this the cowl, right? If you're not drawing, then it's something that you would very easily miss. And the other thing that I learned from this very famous fashion illustrator named David Downton, and David Downton, he talks about this process where the supermodels that he draws, the models don't ever get to see his drawing, his sketches. And even in his book, he doesn't actually publish these sketches. He always publishes, at least from what I've seen, the final result. And so to him, like the act of drawing the model in person, it's better than taking a photo of the person, because the act of drawing the model in person is that very important part of the creative process, where it's like a photographer, you have to photograph the thing that's right in front of you. As an artist, I have to be able to see the thing that's right in front of me instead of looking at it through a filter through, let's say, an image, right? Another tip for you guys is I love changing up the composition in terms of changing up scales, right? Changing up the position, the placement, and having a large, right, focused in, zoomed in, and then having a zoomed out drawing as well. So, I would say that's it for this one, but I will probably click back in certain drawings, cut in certain drawings of what the sketch looks like, and I'm also going to write down some more thoughts that I have in terms of studying the car in person. All right, so I hope you guys like this content. Again, we're just starting out this channel. I am Shouh, by the way. I am the founder of this online art school and also in-person art school named BMW Studio. So we're going to be here to give you tips. I wouldn't call it hacks, but you know, some mindset methods to help you as a creative artist or even just a creative being. That there are different ways for us to utilize the sketchbook and collapse that distance between an idea and putting it down on paper and to turn it into the reality, right? And the reality could be a physical thing, it could be a drawing, it doesn't really matter. So let me know what kind of content you guys are looking to see on this channel too, looking to learn. Is it drawing? Is it, you know, the habit of creating? I got all kinds of stuff like stored in here, and I really hope to be building this channel in public to really provide value to you guys and to be as authentic as possible, as honest as possible. Sharing is caring. I am here to share. So please consider smashing that like button, or just gently consider touching it. You know, that like button, that subscribe button, it means the world to us. Stay tuned, and I'll see you on the next one.